Welcome to our live stream.
Hi there, I am so glad that you're joining me for this FestivalSouth Artie event. My name is Ivy Bell, and I am the creator of Artie the Paintbrush. Around 15 years ago, I pulled out my sketchbook and Artie came to life. At this time, I was a kid, probably a lot like you. I loved all areas of the arts, from singing and dancing, to playing musical instruments, to drawing and painting. I felt like the arts truly made me who I was, and that's why I created Artie, to make sure that kids just like you were exposed to the arts in hopes that you may develop a love and passion for them like I did. I hope that you have fun and learn something new during this Artie event, and maybe see, hear, or experience something that you never have before.
Hello, my name is Christopher Lowry. I play viola with the Lagniappe Trio, and I'm also a composer. In fact, I wrote some music for you guys to hear today. This is called Etym Entomology, a metamorphosis for flute, viola, and harp. Now you're probably wondering, what's with the strange title of this piece? And what does it mean? Well, it's pretty simple actually. The title derives from these two words, etymology and entomology. Etymology is the study of words, and entomology is the study of insects. Ever since early childhood, I've been fascinated with the world of insects. There are many pictures of me as a child handling or examining bugs of various different sorts, and this was something that I never hesitated to do, which of course ended up in me getting stung or bitten several times. I learned my lesson eventually. In high school, I actually developed quite an impressive collection of insects. Sadly, most of those have been destroyed by other insects who were a little hungry. But I do have a few examples still surviving, such as this Cecropia moth. Since then, however, I have decided to continue my insect collection through photography. In addition to this, I have decided to write this piece as a way to fuse my love for music along with my interest in entomology. The piece is in 7 movements in total, but we will only play a few of them for you today. These movements will represent beetles, flies, ants, bees, and wasps, and butterflies and moths. I am so lucky to be able to make great music with my dear friends Rachel Seraldo on flute and Stephanie Gustafson on harp. As I mentioned before, I play the viola, and the three of us together form the Lagniappe Trio, and we are very much looking forward to presenting this piece for you today. Please enjoy Etym Entomology.
Hello, and welcome to FestivalSouth. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Nicole, and I'll be talking to you today about some really cool insects. First, I'd like to share a little bit about myself. I'm a scientist, and I focus on insects, so that makes me an entomologist. I went to school in Hattiesburg at the University of Southern Mississippi and studied mosquitoes there. I like both science and art. I can play the piano and the saxophone and like to draw in my free time. Science and art and music can overlap. So, now for the insects. Insects have 6 legs and 3 body segments. So spiders are not insects because they have 2 body segments and 8 legs. Millipedes are also not insects. Here are some examples of insects. Some insects can fly and some can't, but you can find them almost everywhere. In puddles, in streams, in the soil, in dead wood, in the fur of your pets, in your pantry, and even inside your body. Let's talk about beetles. Beetles are one of the largest group of animals on the earth. There are more than 350,000 different kinds. They live both in water and on the land. Some even live off of poop. Check out this dung beetle. All beetles have elytra, which are hardened front wings that protect hind wings that are used for flying. Ladybugs are actually beetles. They are good for humans, and they protect gardens and farm fields by eating other insects that destroy plants that we use to eat. Titan beetles are one of the biggest beetles that exist. They can be over 6 inches in length or half a foot, and they can bite through a wooden pencil with their jaws, so you better watch out for these guys. They make hissing noise when they are frightened to scare off predators. Click beetles also make a really cool noise. They do so by clicking the spine against their exoskeleton, and they do this again to scare off predators. And it is such a forceful clicking sound that they can use it to flip themselves over when they're stuck on their back.
Beetles, of course, are rather clumsy creatures, but they're also rather well-protected creatures because of these hard shells called elytra that cover the wings. While the three of us play our instruments, listen to how the music aimlessly wanders around, bumps into the wall, falls over, but stays well protected the whole time.
guys, nice to meet you. My name is Matthias Gongora, and I'm the overnight coordinator here at the Hattiesburg Zoo. When not in the zoo, I attend the University of Southern Mississippi, where I study entomology and evolutionary biology. All that means, I study bugs. So you might think that working in a zoo is, you're gonna be out and about most of the time, but I do spend a good bit of time here in my office. But of course, I do like to keep a lot of fun knickknacks all around to remind me of the animals that I love most, which are gonna be bugs. Specifically, beetles are some of my favorite animals, right? I think I kind of got into them a long time ago when I first played Pokemon and Animal Crossing, specifically on GameCube. I really liked all the diversity of insects, how beautiful they can be, how many shapes and sizes that they can have, how some of them can fly, some of them can dig, and some of them can even swim. It's really breathtaking how much of them there really are in this world. And speaking of them, while not an insect, I do have a very fun invertebrate that we're going to be taking a look at today. All right. So, our wonderful guest today is Legs. She is a Chilean rose-haired tarantula, one of the most common tarantula species in the pet trade. So if you know someone who has a pet tarantula, there's a very good chance it's this species right here. They are native to Chile in South America, a good couple of countries really. So I'm from Argentina and she's from Chile. I guess you could say that we were neighbors at one point. No, she was probably born here in the United States. But something really cool about the females is that they can live up to be 20 years of age, so quite a lot longer than the males, who only really average 4 to 5. So guys, I hope you'll be joining me soon whenever we go to see the Insect Inn out in Bug Hub. I know it's going to be a really cool time. So, here we are at the Bug Hub, and here in the Bug Hub we have the Insect Inn. It's a small little structure that we've made here at the zoo, and you can actually make one at home as well. Inside, you're going to be able to find lots and lots of different spaces for insects to be able to live, including brick. So in this kind of brick structure, we should be able to find some spiders, perhaps some beetles, any kind of like larger insect, perhaps even roaches might like to make their homes in there. You can find the bricks located here at the bottom. They're some of the heaviest, so we tend to keep them there for support. Another great place for insects to be able to live is inside small hardwood pieces, like so. Beetles is one of the main species you're going to be able to find in these. Carpenter bees as well. Even ants can actually live in these things. They can actually colonize them pretty well. And over here we have bamboo. Bamboo's super light. It's wonderful. Nice, even diameter. So it's a great place for a multitude of insects to be able to live in here, right? Carpenter bees being one of the ones that we're hoping to attract, along with many other pollinators that are native here to Mississippi. And alas, at the top we have pine cones, various pine cone species, long leaf, short leaf, right? They're still pretty fresh whenever we pick them, and we should expect to find same thing, ants, spiders as well. Beetles, not really. They tend to be a little large for these kind of structures. Now, the Insect Inn is really cool, and it's not a terribly hard thing to make. Some of you may find out that you actually kind of already have structures like these at home. All they really are is just a wooden box with lots of fun places for bugs to live. And yeah, guys, that's kind of all that there is to it. It's very important here at the Hattiesburg Zoo to bolster the insect species that we have, not just here, but really anywhere that you may be, by building structures like this. Most importantly, to really help out the pollinators, they need a place where they can come, they can hang out here. The more that come out here, the more they can actually pick up the pollen, and it just further increases the likelihood that plants will be pollinated whenever you've got so many of them living here. It also functions as a great educational tool to destigmatize these insects. A lot of them tend to have very negative reputations, and it also helps kids become more acquainted with their local insect species and kind of come to see them as the helpful organisms that they are. So, as we've been able to see today, insects play an incredibly important role in all of our ecosystems, whether they're small bees flying from plant to plant, pollinating all of our local plant species, to small beetles in the ground, keeping all the organic matter in check. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. They're truly the champions of evolution, these little insects, right? Next time that you see one on the ground, think, what is its role in the environment? Like, what does it do? What does it mean to you? Well, anyway guys, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a really good time.
Diptera means two wings in Latin. This group of insects is commonly known as flies. They are really agile flyers, meaning they can change directions very quickly. And they have a unique buzzing sound since they only have two wings. An example of flies are mosquitoes. Did you know that only female mosquitoes suck blood and that they use the protein from it to produce their eggs? Because of this, mosquitoes are responsible for spreading a lot of diseases that affect people all over the world. An example of this is malaria. Because of this, they're very dangerous animals. It is often said that mosquitoes kill more people than any other animal. However, they're not all bad. They are pollinators just like bees. Additionally, many of them like to eat dead animals, and that makes them an important part of the ecosystem. Without flies, dead animals would take much longer to decompose, and nature might be full of them. Another cool example of a fly is the assassin or robber fly. They are very vicious predators. They have a lot of muscles, and that allows them to attack other insects while they are in flight. Since the prey is busy flying and that consumes a lot of their energy, they are unable to fight off the robber fly and fall easy prey.
Many flies are quite small, but quite annoying. In much the same way, the music I've written to represent flies is pretty short, very fast, and quite annoying. Listen as you hear all these little notes that we're playing just kind of zip by, buzzing the whole time. You'll probably even hear a few frustrated people swatting.
Next, let's talk about the group of insects called Hymenoptera. This group includes bees, wasps, and ants. Almost all Hymenoptera have a stinger, which is used to inject venom into their victims. This can be used to paralyze prey for food, and sometimes it's used in defense, like with honeybees. While some Hymenoptera look similar to flies, they sound different because they have more wings. Many insects in this group are social, meaning that they live in colonies. These colonies can range to as small as 3 individuals to as many as 1,000. In a colony, there are different castes, and each caste has its own job. The queen lays the eggs, the workers maintain the colony, look for food, and care for the young. Ants even have a caste of soldiers who are responsible for keeping enemies away. Many bees and wasps are pollinators, making them very important to humans. They spread pollen from plant to plant and help them reproduce. Parasitoid wasps are kind of scary. They lay their eggs and other insects, and when the egg hatches, they eat their way out of the host insect.
Hello everyone, my name is Ed Hafer with Ed's Backyard Bees here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and I'm joined today by a bunch of friends here to tell you a little bit about the honeybee and its place in our ecosystem. Honeybees are the only insect that makes food for human consumption, and they make a lot of it. An average hive in Mississippi can produce 100 pounds of surplus honey a year. And we benefit from that because honey is a very nutritious and delicious and healthful food. But honeybees are also important to the environment. 1 out of every 3 bites of food that you take is a result of a honeybee foraging and pollinating a flower. So if you go to your produce section in the grocery store and imagine only 1/3 of the food would be there if we didn't have honeybees. They're very, very important, particularly to fruits and to so much of the food that we take for granted. So I want to show you what we're going to see inside the hive today. This is a standard beehive. You see a larger box and a smaller box. Typically the smaller box on the bottom is used to grow the queens, and the smaller boxes on top are to collect the honey. Inside every hive we have these frames, and this is just a frame covered with plastic in the shape of the bee cells. And before the bees can do anything on those cells, they have to create wax, and the wax looks like this. This is the same wax that they're going to use in lip balms or soaps or your candles, and it's a product that the bees make to store babies and all of the honey inside the hive here. In order to fill that jar, bees have to visit 2 million flowers, and they fly 50,000 miles, which is like twice around the earth, just to fill that jar. So the bees can communicate by smell. If you put a little smoke in there, it interferes with their natural sense so that they're not going to be as communicative. They start eating and they start chowing down on honey, and if they're all chowing down on honey and have a big full belly, they're not going to be in any mood to pick a fight. So that's why we use smoke. And these 2 boxes are for the queen to kind of raise babies, and these are 2 boxes for honey. We call them honey supers. Now,
wow. Wow.
Now here are all the bees. These are all female bees, the workers.
There's already some in there.
Yeah, and you see all these little cells. They're 6-sided. They're perfectly
I'm
shaped.
going to start making honey.
Yeah, what are the white ones? This is the important question. This is why we're all here. This is the honey. These little frames, by the time they fill it, they will have wax the whole way across, and there'll be about 3 pounds or a quart of honey on that frame. All right, now we're going to have a taste of honey fresh out of the cell. It doesn't get any fresher than this. So who would like to be our first taster? Here's how to do it.
I was looking how to do it.
This metal grate is called a queen excluder, and this keeps the queen from getting up into the honey because we don't want to have babies in having crunchy honey. Here. This is called capped brood. So under every cell here that has one of these little wax caps is a little baby bee. And 21 days after the queen lays an egg, there's going to be a little bee that crawls out of every one of those cells and joins the hive. Are all the female bees. These are all the girl bees. And the girl bees do all the work in the hive. All the parts of making honey fall to the worker bees. These bigger ones here are the drones. Those are the male bees. They don't do much in the hive, but they're very important for the survival of the colony because they will mate with queens to allow the queen to produce more babies. So those big ones are the males, and these tiny ones are the workers. And by the end of the year, by maybe in a couple more weeks, a good strong hive will have 50,000 bees in it, and most of them are going to be these little workers. We always start on the end frames because the queen is very unlikely to be here. Typically the outer frames have honey and the brood stays in the middle. So if we start on the end, we have less chance of harming a queen.
Look at all that rabbit. Why does he shake those? Bees, get off!
So this is not quite ready to harvest, but you can see they're starting to cap it. So that's the honey that's ready to go, and that's the nectar that is still too high moisture. And they will fan that with their wings to dehydrate it, and then they will cap it when they get it to just the right moisture content.
Listen carefully in this movement for a melody that repeats itself several times, each time slightly different than before. This represents an ant leading the rest of its colony to a food source that it found. Listen to the gentle buzzing of bees as they spread pollen from flower to flower. And listen as the angry and nervous wasps chase away and attempt to sting people who get too close to their nests.
let's talk about the Lepidoptera, which means scaly wings in Latin. This group is commonly known as moths and butterflies, and they live on land and in the air. The adults have 4 wings, and these wings can be dark or brightly colored. This group goes through complete metamorphosis, meaning each of their life stages looks different. There's the egg, the caterpillar or larva, the chrysalis or pupae, and the adult. Adult butterflies and moths drink nectar from flowers and are pollinators. They help plants reproduce and make seeds for the next generation. This helps us because we need to eat the fruits and veggies made by those plants, and it also helps keep natural areas like forests and prairies healthy. A really cool example of a moth is the Luna moth, which is named after the moon. The larvae or caterpillars click to scare away predators, and they will even vomit up their stomach contents to add the extra ick factor to keep predators away. The adults have long tails on the hind wings, and this is thought to confuse bats when they try to echolocate their prey. That means that the bats can't hear the moths well enough to find them, and the moths are able to escape. Butterflies can migrate just like birds. Some examples of migrating butterflies include the painted lady, the American lady, the red admiral, and the monarch. Monarchs spend the summer in the northern parts of the US and overwinter in Mexico. They tend to group together in giant clusters to stay warm.
Butterflies and moths are quite beautiful. There is a variety of different colors represented in this order, and I have chosen to represent this with very colorful music. As you listen to this piece, imagine butterflies soaring, gently fluttering, and resting and fanning out their wings. At the same time, imagine moths as they are clumsily flying around at night, bumping into lights.
Thank you for joining us today for Festival South's Artie event. Be sure to tell your family and friends about it. I look forward to seeing you at another event and hope that you plan to experience the arts for years to come.
Live stream ending.